Yes, your fearless leader is back in action. Everyone, forget about the past couple weeks of host, even though they did an awesome job. But I am back, and I'm running this show straight into the ground. What's going on, everybody? It's Brian from SeacoastBeverageLab.com, and this is the one and only Seacoast Beverage Lab podcast, episode number 90 for September 10th. It's a Wednesday, 2014. I have a million and one apologies for not being here the past couple weeks. But as a beer blogger, that is not my day job, and my day job got in the way of my my podcasting, and for that I almost quit, but I couldn't because I need the money to do this podcast. But so apologize. But I know Mike, Sean, Carla, Norm got along just fine without me. We had Chad from If My Coach Could Talk step in. Majorly appreciate all the help, and the episodes were great. I listened to them on my car in my rides to work in third shift. And almost pulled over and yelled at Norm, But no. Thanks for picking up the reins, guys. And I am happy to announce that I am drinking the very first, it's my very first. It's not the brewery's very first, but a growler of a Tributary Brewing's London Session Brown.
Oh, cool!
From a sweet little. Let's get a little racy on the show. Zip.
Whoop.
There you go. So yeah, that's Carla posted about it last week, and they opened on Saturday, and I can talk about that in a little bit. But yes, I'm having their Session Brown ale. It's awesome. Big fans. I love Browns. Session Browns 4.0%. So that's 4% for those at home. And that's it. It's awesome. Carla, what's happening?
Sweet. Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Carla Beer Babe. I'm actually drinking a hop nosh from Uinta. I'm kind of in a hop mood. Calcutta Cutter just got released again from Rising Tide, and it has retuned my taste buds to be all things hoppy right now. So I had a couple choices in the fridge, and I was like, hops! No. I wish I had Calcutta in the fridge, to be completely honest with you, but I drank it all. So.
Calcutta. Does Bissell Brothers can anything else besides? Do they do their little thing? What's it called?
Yeah, so they have a second beer called Baby Genius, and they actually canned that today and are releasing those cans again tomorrow. The problem with Bissell Brothers though is that they can and it's gone.
Yep,
they can and it's gone. Yeah. So it's not something that I can just hey, I feel like having that after work, let me pick some up. Like I have to schedule to go get it, which I guess means they're in demand, but makes it challenging for people who want to drink their stuff regularly. Yeah,
it's a tasty beer. They had it. They have it regularly now at Black Birch. Had it a couple times last week, so it was good to have that. Coming in a Instagram filter, but looking better than ever at age ? Happy belated birthday to Norman. What's up, Norm?
Hey, how are you? Norman Miller, Metro West Daily News, The Beer Nut, Real Beer Nut on Twitter, and tonight I'm enjoying the LaTroy Musketeers. I guess I'm totally mispronouncing it, but it's the Grand Cuvée Porter Baltique.
Oh, man.
10% alcohol by volume, beast of a beer. Fantastic.
It's awesome. And again, happy belated birthday, Normie. I know it was this past weekend?
Yeah, it was. My birthday was Sunday. I celebrated it Saturday with multiple liters of beer.
You don't look a day over 80. Oh, okay.
I know where you live.
I'm still sick. You do, which is weird. What? How do you know? Anyway, I have my address on my wall just so I remember where I am. But yeah, so it's been a couple weeks for me. I don't really have much to recap. If you've been following on Twitter and whatnot, you can get the gist of it. But really, not too much for me. Couple fests, or I went to one fest, was it 2 weeks ago, the Portland Brew Fest, and it was really good. I went with my wife up in Portland, Maine, had some good beers. We had a great mead, and I should have wrote it down. Fryer something, Carla, ring a bell?
We have made Meadworks up here, but I don't know.
Meadworks on one end. On the other end, it was this other one which had an awesome artwork, and I got to go get the beer list when you guys are talking.
Yeah, I'd love to know, because, I mean, Urban Farm Fermentories makes a cider, too.
Yeah, and it was like out of a wine bottle, but it was a chili-infused mead. It was not a sweet mead. It was like a savory, almost like a salty mead.
I don't know if I'm familiar with that one. That's cool.
Yeah, and the artwork.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find out what that was, because that's
too sweet. But yeah, it was a good fest. Who else was there? I know they had like a side session where Tributary and Bissell Brothers were, but we weren't there for that. we ended up going to Infinity after for some foods, and it was awesome. And we got a chance to go to the craft beer cellar in Portland. And congrats, Suzanne and Kate were there setting up the store, so they were super pumped. They were behind the red shirt saying, "Bev Lab's here," and I'm like, "Oh boy, please, no autographs." But no, it's a really nice store. The location's to die for any store, really. So yeah, it's congratulations to them and to many more stores. But yeah, it's awesome. What else? So last weekend I went over to High Horse, and speaking of future guests, I talked to Matt Steinberg over at High Horse in Amherst, Mass, and he said he wanted to be on the show sometime soon.
Sweet.
Because I mentioned we talked to Dean, and we're not just New Hampshire obviously based podcast, because I'm just from New Hampshire. So he said he wants to be on because he has some big announcements. I don't know if any of it's he must have talked about it before, but he plans on expanding the High Horse brand outside of the pub and into bottles and cans in the future. So I wanted to have him come on the show to talk about that, because that's a pretty sweet deal. Because Norm, have you been to High Horse?
I have been to a High Horse. I have had a lot of Blatant beers, which Matt also started.
Yeah.
He was also the original startup brewer from Mayflower, and he offshore. He used to be the brewer there. He's been around for a while. He's a great brewer.
It was cool because he was there, which was cool. I was with my sister, and I was being the rude person and like, excuse me, I got to untap check in this beer. So I untap check in a beer, and he comes out in the back. He goes, "Who just tweeted?" So he was. It's good to see a brewer following the tweets and the untap check-ins. But yeah, so look forward to that for sure. That's pretty much it. Other than that, I've been playing a lot of video games. That's pretty much my past couple months even. So I'll get into that a little bit later, and I'll talk about in the news lineup, which if you guys are watching live, you can go to the sblpodcast.com. So we have the news links, because myself and beer buddy Ben did something cool. But I'll shut up for now. Carla, what was your past week like?
Let's see. We had a couple of openings. Obviously, you talked briefly a little bit about Tributary last week, but we also in Portland had the opening of Arcadia National Bar, which is the bar and arcade and card game, whatever combo. I went out and played some Cards Against Humanity and played some Miss Pac-Man, and
Nice.
and it's a neat space to be in. It's pretty warm in there, but other than that, but it's going to be a great place to hang out through the fall and the winter. Had a really good time, and all local taps. I think they've got 6 taps on. Very cool. I also went to Sebago. They had a hop harvest party. So the
Nice.
thing that happened last week in Maine is that the hop yard and Rustic Hops and everything harvested their hops. Historical harvest. They actually got over 1,500 pounds of hops just from the hop yard alone, which is awesome. Biggest in about 100 years, they're saying, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But on Friday at Sebago, they brought the demonstration of the machine that thrashes the hops off the vines. So they were picking and pouring some beer and hanging out with the Sebago crew. So that was really cool. They were pouring a beer I hadn't had before, which is, they called it the Short Pants Kolsch, which is just kind of a nice light kind of end of summer beer going on. I don't know if they're going to be bottling that, but I do know that it's on at some of the brew pubs right now. That was pretty tasty. Yeah, just a lot of random beer adventures. I caught up with David Skolsky, who's a former Blue Lobster fame. I almost said Blue Jagger. No, that's not correct. Blue Lobster, and he has secured a spot in Exeter. They actually poured the floor into it today. So he's gonna be he's rocking and rolling. So he's kind of that buzzing excited that brewers get when they actually have something concrete, literally, to look at. And I wish him the best. I can't wait to see what he ends up doing. That's gonna be great.
We got him back on the show because he kicked off the show. He was episode number 1.
Yeah.
Maybe episode number 100 we could have an update.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be kind of cool because Jesus, we're only 10 episodes away now. Ooh.
Yeah.
And what happens traditionally in podcasts is we lose one host every couple of 100 episodes. So
yeah.
Who will survive?
Oh no, who's voted off the island? Uh-oh.
Find out next week.
Sean!
Who said that? I have ghosts in my house. This is crazy. Anything else for now, Carl?
No, not at this very second. I'm trying to think. Oh, I just found out that there's another brewery that's going to open at the end of October in Maine. I had said something. I had said something last week, like, okay, now the tributary is opening up. We won't have another for another couple months, and I was wrong. We're going to have another 42 days from now in Liberty, Maine. Liberty Brewing Company is going to be open up. So
we're going to dedicate 5 minutes of every show to the main brewery update.
yeah, the main. How many do we have now? So today we have 55.
It's just a video clip of Chad saying the number 7.
Or like Sesame Street, 50.
Yeah.
5.
Oh man, actually, it did bring to mind one brewery that I liked their Weiss. Is it Nice Brewing?
Oh, Nice Brewing, yeah. Niess, yeah.
Because I figured it was Nice Weiss, and my wife and I were like, is it Gneiss? Like, I don't know. Is it a name term?
It's nice. It's a type of rock, actually.
Okay.
Nice.
Great.
So they're geology geeks. But yeah, they brew some really good stuff. A lot of kind of German style Hefeweizen. They do a Dunkel that's good. They have some nice beers going on, and they're another one that's kind of up in a rural area, but their beer comes down to Portland, and we're happy to have it.
Oh yeah. Speaking of happy to have you, Norm.
Hey, what's up?
What happened the past week or so?
Well, like we mentioned earlier, I celebrated my birthday on Saturday. Went with a bunch of friends to Old Magoon Saloon in Somerville. A really cool bar there. They have about 25 beers on tap. But the best thing is, they're having Oktoberfest throughout October and September and October.
Yeah.
So they have about 10 Oktoberfest beers on tap at all times, and so you can get half liters or full liters. So I gathered with a bunch of friends and drank liter after liter after liter after liter of beer on Saturday. It was a great time. Good way to celebrate my first 40 years and my last day in the 30s up to the 40s. So it was fun. I recommend Old Magoons to anyone. It looks like there's no parking around, but there's actually a paid parking lot right next door at CVS. So it's actually one of the better places to park in Somerville. It's just a really cool bar. I had the food's really good. The beer list, even when it's not Oktoberfest, looks great. They have tons of events there. I get press releases from them all the time. That's how I heard about them. So that's basically all. Sunday, on my actual birthday, I had been saving a bottle of Sam Adams Utopias 2007 since 2007. So I went over my aunt. I went to my aunt and uncle's house and shared the bottle with them and my cousin and everything for the 40th birthday I've been saving it for. So
that's awesome.
It was a good weekend.
You drink the whole bottle?
No, I felt fine, but I wasn't in the mood for beer after how much I had drank Saturday night.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So I had some, but it was good. Like I said, it was good. Like I've been saving it just for that day, so it was good to be able to split it with my family.
Awesome.
So that's about it.
Sweet. And speaking of Oktoberfest, I forgot to, before we get into this, I wanted to mention, big shout out to the chat room. We got Johnny Beer and Zach from Raising the Bar Stool on. Johnny Beer says High Horse makes some good beer, and Raising the Bar Stool says 2 things. Oktoberfest are my favorite, and he just tweeted with #SBL Podcast, happy birthday, Norm. So, bam, reaching everybody across the land.
Yeah, Zach it bothers me, though. He's only like 23.
We're young lads. We're young lads. Speaking of someone trying to look young, but
hey,
what's up, Sean? Man, good to see you.
How's it going?
Long time no see. What's it been since Sunday?
Exactly. I see it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I saw you over a clam fritter.
Yeah, the
Seacoast Seafood Fest. Anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't expect to see anybody at those events because it's packed with people you don't want to be around. People that go to the beach, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's a smile. Amber's looking at me like this is perfect. So
and a high five. Don't forget that.
Which is fantastic. But Sean, what's happening? Well, welcome back. What's happening the past week? When were you drinking?
I'd just like to say, in honor of Norm's birthday, I'm having my first official pumpkin beer of the year.
Which one?
Muddy Nose Pumpkin
nice.
Ale. It's a classic.
Muddy Pump.
I have some of that in my fridge.
Nice. They also they have the Brett and I on out now, which is
Oh,
fantastic.
great beer.
So what the hell have you been up to, Sean, past week or so, huh? What's the old two beer guys wagon? How's that rolling?
Well, I'll tell you this. Last weekend we were at a beer fest in Concord called the Capital Cup. We were able to escape the rain. There was like a short rainfall for maybe like 2 minutes, but we had some great beers. We actually had a couple guest beers, some first times in the state. We had some 21st Amendment guest beers, a couple beers from Newburyport Brewing, along with a double IPA and a pumpkin from Wormtown. Good old
Nice.
Norm's. I guess Norm's local. I mean, they make his beers, so it's gotta be right up in there.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and Norm's beard's growing nice, perfect for the next beer. So you got to trim it up and.
No.
And Sean, I just saw your post, God, a couple days ago or something. You posted about Cape Ann doing cans. That's
We
crazy.
did. Also, in episode 89, we talked about it for a little bit.
Did you? Oh my God!
Their
See, that's
10th
what I don't even listen.
anniversary.
I don't listen to the shows.
It's in my column today, so
I
If
do.
you actually listen to the show, and I apologize to anybody who has,
Oh,
you'll
no.
notice that like the first 10 minutes is Sean interviewing Carla over the hop farm that she visited.
Oh,
In
man.
hindsight, it was great because Carla was like the guest feature of the night for like the first 15 minutes of
boy.
the show.
And we have a very
But we
special
learned
guest.
a lot about her hop harvesting or hop farm experience, which I went back and listened to it for a little bit. I was like, wasn't too bad. It was a lot of good information there.
Sean was Charlie Rose for the evening.
Exactly.
I had just written an article about it, so it was all like still verbatim in my head. That was the problem.
And the
It was
guest
kind of funny
tonight is
though when
us.
you probably haven't listened to it, but it's literally
I don't.
me interviewing you about your experience with the hop
I
farm.
know. I was saying that, like, once we got past that, it was good flow.
Yeah, you have to get past that part. It was kind of like getting into it for a little bit, you know.
I just posted last week's tonight. So I mean, by the time if you listen to this, well, it's recorded, it doesn't matter to you. But if you're watching live, I just posted this one tonight because I'm now caught up. The show notes are gone with the wind for the past couple episodes, but we're back. This ship is back on good sailing tonight. So
The reason why, Brian, I apologize that I was a little bit tardy.
Ugh.
I just and you'll laugh. I just left a Seacoast Winter Brewfest meeting. First one of the
tis the
year.
season.
We'll pop in that 2015
Oh boy.
Seacoast Winter Brewfest cherry, but we talked about a whole bunch of different things, including potential beer dinner, maybe double VIP sessions, extra different VIP items to kind of step up the game a little bit.
Sweet. I'm a big fan. What was I going to say to you too? Darn tootin'. I'll figure it out. But yeah, it's
We're
cool
gonna
that-
have like a picture area with Norm, where Norm would be like sort of laying on a couch seductively, and you could join in with Norm.
it's a cardboard cutout of Normie.
Clothes or no clothes?
Optional.
Yep. It's like Velcro. It's Velcro, so you can put it like whatever you want on, like Miss Norm Potato Head.
Yeah, they're like the rip-off pants.
My God. Yes. So that's cool though, because that's a good amount of time you have to plan. So that means it's gonna be a kick-ass event. So cheers.
We can only hope.
Oh yeah, please. Seacoast, Winter, and Brewfest. It's three of my favorite things.
Bam, bam, bam.
So yeah, let's get into it. So before I kick my power supply again, which I did this morning, which really pissed me off. But that's out of the way. So yeah, for those that are watching live, or even if you're driving, open up your browser and go to sblpodcast.com. So I put the show notes for tonight there, and we'll keep updating it if we have something going. But I wanted to do a quick story about this is a couple weeks ago, so I want to make sure this is one of my favorite stories of like the month. So it's in there, and it's under what happens when a beer festival can't legally identify breweries at its event. Brought to you by the lovely folks over at Beer Pulse and our friends over in Norway. Yes. So there's a brew fest in Norway where by law they can't announce what breweries are going to be at their beer festivals.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
'cause that's super helpful.
So there's a picture there, but I don't think it's any part of the actual list. But it's a very short note that they put on Facebook to announce it, and it says, "Dear followers of What's Brewing, um, we have just had a very informative meeting with an official from the Norwegian state. In this meeting, we have understood the following: we are not allowed to tell you on any platform which breweries are attending the festival. We can tell you that we consider them to be world-class breweries. We furthermore believe that we are in our right to inform you that the breweries such as Rhines, Hansa, Carlsberg, etc., will not be attending our festival. This is the law." And then it ends my favorite way. It says, "Hey, it's not like Norway's alone in this. Afghanistan, Kuwait, Libya, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen have similar laws." So, I mean, I guess as a beer fest, I mean, now this could be a whole separate show, but I think the beer fest has a lot to live up to now. You expect to have, high class beers or, some of the newest, but it's tough for some of these small ones to organize all of it. I would hesitate unless I knew, the people running the festival to go to one that couldn't list the breweries. But I don't think they would try to pull the wool over our eyes and say, "Oh, here's all beer. Here's all." It's just actually a beerita party. So sorry.
Yeah. But still, I mean, you're going in blind after you're spending like 40 or $50 for a ticket. At least around here, I mean, yeah. Like, for example, like I know the beer advocate festivals are great. I trust that they have good beer. But if it's a festival I've never been to,
Right.
I don't know if I want to go to a festival that I've never been to and don't know how the organizers are about getting the beer.
Yeah. It'd just be a long list of things you can't, but it would leave you to assume that okay, so they're going to have this brewery. So in fact, there were a couple breweries at and this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but when I was at the Portland Brew Fest, there were a couple breweries that I was surprised weren't there, but they were able to publish their list ahead of time. But I don't know if I'd, like you said, Norm, go to a beer fest that couldn't publish their names, because it could just be one brewery.
Well, we also, Brian, don't want to share the copyright of the concept that we had where we thought we would list the breweries, and then when you get there, you don't know which beer is which on draft.
That's a different frustration.
Is kind of like the opposite of that. We have to kind of vote for your favorite beer, knowing that some of your favorite beers that are there, but you don't know what you're drinking from, if it's number 21, 22, 23, that you're getting a pull from.
But and that's the same as, like, there's a lot of beer fests that don't list. I mean, they don't list ahead of time what beers are at the fest, and either because the list is too long or the breweries just don't know up until the date, which is still kind of scary. But
you have a blind beer fest where you know like great beers are going to be there. You have a list and you have to guess. It kind of puts a little bit more fun into it where people have to.
I need to know the style before going blind.
I ain't go style. That's easy.
Yeah, but at that point, here's Great Rhythms IPA. Well, they only have one IPA.
But if you have 6, the idea would be is that you stick it with like 6 IPA, 6 this, 6 that.
Oh, you don't tell them what brewery it is.
You have to guess of which is which.
You don't tell them what brewery it is. I dig.
Yeah.
Now I'm back with you. Cool. Any thoughts, Carla, on this little thing?
Just that, just kind of like those laws that don't let you see the ABV and whatever. I'm always for anything that lets more information go out. Like, it's fine if a brewery wants to choose, how much information to give out, but when they're prevented from doing that, that sucks. Like, yeah. I think that we have enough responsible beer drinkers out there that we're gonna, letting people make more informed decisions. I don't think is a bad thing. So that's kind of my 2 cents.
And while we're on the beer fest train, real quick, big shout out to Rick Brews and my mom who went to what is it called? There's a beer fest in New Salem. It's something beer fest in Massachusetts. And they said they saw Dave from Henniker pouring beer there. So big shout out to New Hampshire Beer and my mom and dad for going to a beer fest without me, which is crazy.
But, cool.
So stupid, but yep. So that's that story. I put the link in the show notes again. It's really pretty much all that I said was right there. But yeah, it would suck to be able to, as a brew fest that wants to promote and get a lot of sales without being able to say the beer list would be kind of tough. But I guess, Carla, we can switch over to one it's not in the show notes, but I brought it up before, is this little bad Larry. I mean, this is my first koozie, but we can talk a little bit about Tributary, and I can post your article on in the show notes. But what do you? You're from Maine. I'll pass the growler to you. How do you want to talk about it? Because we had Todd on the show a couple episodes ago, but it's happening. We're here, and we lost her.
So
Let's go back.
while we're waiting for her, I will tell you this. I saw Carla's article on MaineToday.com, and the picture of Todd Mott kind of makes me think of the professor from Back to the Future.
Great Scott.
Great, Scott. Was it how many gigawatts?
Jigga who?
Was it like 21.6 gigawatts?
Oh man. But yeah, no. So yeah, I was until Carla was back. Do I hear noise? Anyway.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No. So as I was saying, and I'll put the link in the show notes from Carla's. We had Todd a couple episodes ago. Todd Mott, formerly of Portsmouth Brewery fame and beyond, was in the throes of opening his brewery. Well, months go by, and all of a sudden on Friday, he sends an email out to his Kickstarter backers. Saying, "Oh yeah, we're opening tomorrow," which was such a badass move. I'm a huge fan. It wasn't even like it wasn't bolded. It was just like, "Bam, we're coming in hot tomorrow," and we might have one beer, might have two. But according to Todd, when I was talking to him on Sunday, he said there was a line out the door, and they were passing out beers and selling growlers and stuff, which was really cool. When I was there, they had the two beers on tap. They had the Pale Ale and the Session Brown. And it showed me the brew house, and it's the nice tanks, and he says there's a Goza, Saison, and an IPA coming in hot. But man, it's such a cool. It's cool to be in there, and the artwork inside is great. I mean, it's like it looks like it's been there a bit, and they're not just opening like a bar with just taps behind them. They put some thought into everything else. But Carl, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a cool space. They have it's kind of big, so they've got indoor picnic tables on the right-hand side, and then you can on the left wall they have glass where you can see where the brew house is and whatnot. When I stopped in there quick, I only got a chance to try the pale, so you'll have to tell me about the brown there. But the pale was okay. I was not, I wasn't like, wow, this is a Todd Mott beer. It's the most amazing thing in the world. But at the same time, it's a pale ale, so I, should have adjusted my expectations. But no, I'm psyched to hear that they've got a Goza on the way. Like you said, though, Todd and Galen were walking around just like beaming. They were like super happy. And honestly, that region needs more beer spots. So I will definitely be back down there to try what they've got going on and to hang out and chill. And it's a cool spot.
It was definitely a who's who, not necessarily of like beer celebrities, but just people that you see at every bar ever. It was like, the people you see at Portsmouth Brewery or over at Earth Eagle or some brewery, like these people know what's happening and they're just there. And you look around the room and there's maybe 40 people in there. And I know everyone. I've seen them at some brewery. Oh, where do I know you from? It's probably from one of the many breweries in town, which is cool. It's just,
you saw them at some brewery? So me?
So me. Oh, I mean, I'm just saying in general, people that you see. Is it some or so me?
It's some.
Yeah, it's some. So yeah, I'm just saying in general, you see these people out and about, which is cool. But their hours are posted, and it's actually pretty good hours. Noon on a weekday, big fan. So
every day of the week?
No, what is it? It's Wednesday through Friday. Right?
I'd have to look it up.
I think it's Wednesday to Friday, 12 to 7, or Wednesday to Saturday, 12 to 7, and then Sunday, 1 to 5. So they're closed Monday, Tuesday.
So, Carla, I mentioned while you were in and out for a little second that I saw your article on MaineToday.com. It came up in my feeds. I didn't notice it actually until today that it was actually written by you. But when I originally saw the photo, I was like, oh, it's Doc from Back to the Future.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, he kind of has that. I didn't take the photo. That was a courtesy photo from Tributary. But yeah, he does have that kind of mad scientist look about him. And then I apologize, I don't have the article in front of me, but it's a picture of Todd Mott and their brewer, which they hired from Victory, and I can't remember what his name was.
Victor Ree.
Victor Reed, yeah.
His name is.
Drumroll.
But I was excited to hear about some of the ideas that they had for what they were going to do next, and just to have even more perspective. It's not all Todd too, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, that was I think it was a good move. I mean, because you would think he'd be doing it by himself with this huge system, but no, he's got some hands, which is good.
Jeff Goodnow.
Jeff, that's it.
Goodno.
So Jeff Goodnow, we got to get him on the show. So everyone start tweeting.
And thanks to Johnny Beer, he corrected me. It's 1.21 gigawatts.
Oh man,
for the amount of power that they need to power the DeLorean to go back to the future.
Yes.
Oh boy, we turned the podcast. This turn of the movie podcast right here.
I told Johnny Beer I'd give him a shout out. So.
Oh, nice. Big shout out! Second one of the night. Come on, Johnny Beer, stop hogging all the action. Anything else, Carla, about this one? Just obviously wish them luck and tributarybrewing.com.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the website, but definitely.
That's a damn good guess.
I'm like, maybe. No, just
you take a wager on their flagship.
I don't know. They haven't.
Take a guess right now. Flagship's going to be what?
I don't know.
I imagine the Pale Ale or the IPA. Well, I mean, to me, a flagship is the first beer you come out with.
No, flagship is the one you want to make over and over again.
No,
unless
it's the best recognized.
The Kate? No. Is it going to be Kate?
Flagship is best recognized.
Then
people come to you, to your brewery, for your flagship.
That's not what I call. No way.
You're gonna brew. Yeah. You know what? Some people don't have a flagship until 3 or 4 years in.
Yep.
It's gonna be 30 to 50% of your overall brewing schedule.
Portsmouth Brewery's flagship was not Kate. It was, their Portsmouth Pale, their Dirty Blonde. Like, those are their flagships, the ones they start with.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Lauren. You've been around way longer than I have.
The flagship has to be a year-round beer.
Right. That's got to be a year-round.
Yeah.
So like think of like Abel Ebenezer's. Their flagship is now their smoked IPA. That's the beer that everyone in New Hampshire is looking for with Abel Ebenezer's. If you go into Kelson, people are looking for their Paradigm Brown. That's the first beer that everybody wants to try.
I guess those definitions are mucky waters because I just hear flagship and I don't think year-round or most sought after. I just think the beers that they have, like that they started out with, and they still have year-round, sure, I guess.
Well, I'm just saying it has to be year-round to be flagship.
I consider Earth Eagles, New England Gangsta, and
that's right there because that's the quickest to sell out. The most that they make is of that beer, right there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Tuckerman's Pale Ale, flagship.
Well, yeah, because they start.
Longhammer is beating out the SB.
Yeah, so and as he said, he's going to have on our podcast, if you guys were there watching it, he's going to have 3 flagships and 1 rotating tap. It seemed, or that's what he wanted to do with his tap lines. So looking forward to that. And yes, so check it out. It is tributarybrewing.com. I think my website did go there, so check it. And oh no, it did not go there. So look them up on Facebook. Better yet, go to the episode show notes from Todd Mott because it is there. So check it. Let's go to one that Norm did, and in classic Norm form, we're going to pick one of his best because each host brought 2. We're only going to talk about 1, and then you got to go look up the rest on the show notes. Normie, you had one that I loved just because it just screams Norm. The blonde and the bubbly. Why don't you talk about this, Norm? And sorry, Carla,
right.
Your must.
No, actually, I saw Carla tweeting about this last week. So.
Oh no, we're not talking about this.
Yes, we are.
We might have to.
Okay, basically the story is in Dayton, Ohio, I believe, a strip club has opened up as a brew pub as well. So you can go there for some legs and pale ale at the same time. Basically, from reading the story, the reason was the owners wanted to get a liquor license. They couldn't get a liquor license, so they still wanted to serve alcohol, so what's the next best thing? We'll brew our own damn beer. So now you can go there and get a brown ale or a pale ale or a blonde ale and enjoy the...
You know what's funny?
You can do so much
and dance with Tiffany.
You know what's funny is that when I posted this and people read the article, they were like, wait a minute. It was easier to get a brewery license than a freaking liquor license.
Well,
Like
'cause
people.
I know in Massachusetts, for example, each community is limited how many liquor licenses you can have.
Yeah.
So, like Medusa Brewing Company, they're opening in Hudson. If they wanted a liquor license, they would have had a much more difficult job getting a liquor license than a brewery license. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but it was fun. I was reading the story. They were like a small system, but the guy who wrote the article says the beer is actually pretty decent. It's just interesting that it's probably one of the few breweries in the area that you can go to, and it just happens to be an adult entertainment club.
I tried typing it in our local chat here, but I don't know if it's coming off as a joke. Live Broods. Is that too weird? So I think there's a show title in there that I'm going to try to work out as I sleep tonight and think about it.
But I mean, the restaurant's called Pinups and Pints.
Perfect. But
apparently it used to be called Baby Dolls.
That's a little creepy.
But they
it's not called Growlerettes.
Yeah.
Growlerettes.
The system is basically 15-gallon setup, high-end computerized system. Basically, he said.
Set it and forget it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Next one.
So he's allowed to have guest beers, liquor, and wine as part of the brewery license. So it's basically a way for him to get around, the owner to get around not being able to get a liquor license, is to be able to start a brewery inside a strip club and be able to get all the other things you couldn't have before. It's kind of a smart business move, though.
I mean, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I mean, honestly, I haven't been to a strip club for years. No, I really haven't, but just because if I went to a strip club doesn't mean I want to drink Budweiser. Why not have good beer?
And listen, it's not a bad idea. Well, it isn't a bad idea because as those that went to the Portland area for a beer bloggers conference, there was a strip club crawl because it has most strip clubs per capita. And it's one of those.
Some of their strip clubs had like 24 craft draft lines.
But it's like you're staring at the bar, and you're staring at the bar of all the taps, and then there's a mirror there, so you can enjoy a beer, and then just take a glance up, and you're like, oh, that's where I am. Like,
yeah.
Oops.
There's a really good beer book if you ever have a chance to read it. It's called Travels with Barley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book. But one of the bars the guy stops at is a strip club in Portland, Oregon. It has like 120 beers on tap. And he's having like this in-depth conversation with one of the dancers about our favorite style of IPAs and hops and everything like that. And my guess is only in Portland that you would have that kind of conversation with a dancer, but still, kind of.
I mean, that's a good question.
Sounds like something you get at Sassy's.
Oh boy. So, but this Johnny Beer coming in hot on the chat is asking, what's hypothetical? We'll go down the line, and the first beer that comes to mind, if they were to make their flagship beers and have 4 of them, and there's 4 of us here, what would they be called? We'll start with Carla. Quick thinking here.
I don't know. You pass.
All right, Sean.
If a strip club was making a flagship beer,
Yep.
it would be. Oh, I can't say that one.
Double D Brown.
Damn it!
Mine would be the Barley wine. Anyway, Norm, what do you think?
The milk
The
stout.
Sassy Stout.
The milk
Yeah, it'd be
stout.
the milk.
Double D double. But then Carla said Double B Brown. I couldn't go back to Double B Double Box.
I think it would be a little sexual chocolate.
I was just gonna say mine's the I'll get back to this in a second. Mine's called the Paying My Way Through College Kolsch.
Oh my God.
Oh, that would
That's
be good.
wrong.
Okay.
No.
We are off the rails, folks.
No, and for the record, it's not a good idea to use objectified women beer names because there's a lot of female beer drinkers out there. So I'm just going to be the party pooper for 2 seconds.
That's why it's Sassy Stout.
Yep, Sassy Stout.
The only times ever appropriate is at a brew pub at a strip club.
Right, and that's totally cool because you're already in an environment where you've accepted the way of the world that way. So go for it. Have some fun.
I
A
did.
long-legged lager.
There's got to be a lot of play on all the things that you can call boobs. You can match those up with some beer styles.
Triple Pull Pale. All right, next.
Overgrown American Pale Ale.
Oh, I was thinking of something else. We are moving on. We're moving on.
That's not right.
All right, so next one. And on stage 5, Sean with Overgrown.
No.
All right,
No
so
one's ever told Sean that.
I have one correction from our listener, aka at Rick Brews, one of our biggest fans of the show. It was the Hilltown Brew Fest in New Salem, Mass. And thanks for listening and going to that, because I think it was one of those. It was extremely hot, like 90s and humid as hell.
Ooh.
But they went anyway and had a great time. But
And then the storm came in.
oh, big time! What fantastic conversation we just had. So probably one for the record books, and I'm glad we're starting to get this rolling at episode, almost 100.
It's 90.
But, yeah, man, we're getting there. So Sean brought one that I wanted to talk about, and then we can kind of fade out into what's coming up, because there's a ton coming up in the area here. Sean, you're talking about a long trail suit. What?
Yeah, we don't shy away from litigation here on the show. We like to talk about litigation as much as we can. And there was a behind-the-scenes conversation between Long Trail Brewery and Bent Paddle. And Bent Paddle Brewing Company is in Minnesota, and they could not come to regular terms, so Long Trail had to basically send a cease and desist of using the hiker logo along with the hiking scenes that they have on different cans, sorry, not cans, but on different packages that they have.
Yeah.
So if you look at the logo picture, and I'll kind of post that for anyone that's in the chat room, that this logo was on the can. It's clearly the same Long Trail hiker logo, red, same direction that the hiker is going. That it's obvious that it's the same thing. And what happened was that Long Trail was kind of sort of saying cease and desist, don't use it anymore, and now because the brewery said we're not going to listen to you, maybe, behind the scenes is kind of like what I read between the lines, that Long Trail has kind of even come out now and said, well, we want some of the money that you profited on for the merchandise and other items that you've sold since the litigation has been in process.
What?
Yeah.
Man.
So.
Okay, that's a little.
Take a hike.
So what direction is that going in? So that's Long Trail that wants the money, or the other guys?
No, but so take a look at the logo itself, and
Yeah,
that
no.
it's clear.
I think that's relatively common in like trademark things. You request the money. I think it's basically a way that you basically threaten them so they actually back down. I think that's relatively
I agree with that. It's kind of like it's a negotiation tactic that you have to use.
pretty much.
If you know that it's something that you've been having on your side for quite some time. So
okay.
when you
Like, I think the same thing happens. I don't think it's a beer industry thing.
No, it's not a beer industry specific thing, but it's more something of like, hey, we've been trying to break this out regular. Let's kind of like end this dispute as quick as we can, type of deal.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at it, you're like, okay, someone didn't do their homework.
Yeah.
Really,
Wow.
it's kind of
That's
one
a
of the
while
things
ago,
that
though.
we've always the zen that we've ended the show with multiple guests for at least 60 episodes of. I mean, you got to know what's out there in the industry. If you want to be the hiker brewery, make sure you don't have the same logo that a brewery out there that you compete with. Now,
I mean,
people are
the only thing I can say that clears them a little bit of that is that they took that image from like the default icon for trail signs. So it's not. Yes, if you're familiar with Long Trail at all, it's very obvious that these are very similar. But both of them are kind of going off the same idea of, hey, I do a lot of hiking. I see this symbol all the fucking time. So that's what I ended up putting on my beer. So I get it. But at the same time, yeah, do your research, do your homework, and check. But I don't think this is kind of that same, not malicious, but I don't think it was them
it's not
trying
malicious,
to.
But Carla, they tried to, before even any of these articles came out, they tried to solve it on their own.
Yeah.
And,
But I'm wondering if that's what the defense was. They were going, well, I'm just copying a sign that's on the
But you
trail.
can also say that, hey, Vermont has nothing to do with Minnesota, but let's see, Long Trail has been around for
Long Trail.
20 to 25 years. They're already
Does Long
sold
Trail
in
sell beer in
about
Minnesota?
40 states. And so it's kind of like,
Right.
It's, don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do your homework if you're starting a new brewery out there. You have to.
Got
If you
it.
come up with the greatest name, someone may already come up with that, and
Beer
that's why
names too, people. Beer names too. Yeah, it's one thing to pick your brewery name, and then it's it's even harder to pick the same punny beer name for that style that you've come up with. I'm sure there's 10 of them. So just check it out. Do your research, man.
And most breweries will be cool about it. Like I remember when Element first came out, they had a beer called Dark Element, which was the name of a Brooklyn beer. Brooklyn, look, you'd rather you not use this name. Element, like, okay, can we just use the rest of our packaging for it? Then we'll switch it after. Brooklyn, that's perfectly fine. Finish off your packaging so you don't lose the money. You could do it after. I'm guessing a lot of breweries would be willing to do that, unless it's like a direct competition type thing, to allow them to use the rest of the labels or bottles or cans and then switch over. But you still have to do it. I mean, if you take something that looks so directly from another brewery or has the same exact name of another beer, you lose out. I mean, you have to lose out.
And just when we thought, trademark stuff was over, but it's happening all the time.
it's gonna be endless, because right now there's so many breweries that are growing every day. Where they say there's like 2 or 3 breweries starting every day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're gonna keep getting more and more because there's just so many beer puns right now that you can use.
Yep.
And
We just listed a ton of them, so I mean those are free to use for listening to this podcast.
Exactly.
just put on a label somewhere that you got it from the show. So for the rest of so we got another couple of articles up on the show notes that you can go check out for yourself. We have a Dogfish doing a distillery going on there, so check out on that. Norm put an article up there about another new brewery, so you might want to check that out. And Sean's got another one in the hopper about, speaking of flagships, Jack's Abbey seasonals, which you guys talked a little bit about 2 episodes ago, I think, seasonals with Chad.
we talked about it last week, I know.
Was it last week? Maybe I did listen to last week. I'm sorry. But so check it out on the show notes. I'll put the links in there. Giddy yup. Let's get into what's going on in the coming weeks, because we had a lot of good beer news this week, and I guess we're, just like in Wedding Crashers when they're screaming it's wedding season, we are in the thick of Beer Fest season right now, which is awesome. For myself, that I have listed, at least, like I said, I went to the Portland Brew Fest. In the coming weeks, we'll talk about these more, because there's some that are a few weeks out that we'll probably give more shout-outs to, but this weekend I'm heading over to the Strawberry Bank Passport event, which is awesome. The weather looks like rain, but the event is always sunshine and rainbows, because it's one of the better food and beer fests in the area of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We were talking with Alex at WIM last night, and they will be there, and they will be pairing some of their food with Earth Eagle, which is cool, kind of local collab. So check that out. It's I believe tickets are still on sale. The VIP tickets are sold out. So yeah, check it. I can put the link.
It's a cool festival.
It's awesome.
If you've never been to Strawberry Bank, it's kind of like it's like one of those old historic locations. Some nice architecture, and everything's kind of spread out, so you're never really in a line, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that they work ahead of time with the restaurants that are involved to pick really good pairings. So they'll say, okay, you Blue Lobster are paired with X restaurant, and they actually talk ahead of time and make something that really does match. It's a great event. It's one of my favorite events. I don't think I'm actually going to make it this year, though.
What?
I know.
That's why I see you once a year.
I know, so we'll see.
She's still going to be doing karaoke on D Street, so don't worry.
I found a good karaoke place up here, so y'all need to come up here.
You know, Carly, you're such a good person, but you do karaoke, so it brings you down.
No, it does not.
Hey, what, Norm? Coming from the guy that I believe is one of the best singers I know.
Oh, he's a karaoke dance jam guy right there.
Oh man.
Oh dear.
If it wasn't for this whole newspaper writing thing, I'd be a millionaire, but I just can't give up the industry.
Can't do it. So we got that's this weekend, and then the weekend after that, you can find myself and Momo, Mike Meredith, who's not on the show tonight, up at Schilling. They're having their Oktoberfest on that Saturday, the 20th, 21st.
Yeah.
You're going up to Schilling?
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
Lock, stock, and growler, and we'll be up. Of course, we're gonna have books on hand, and we'll be drinking the hell out of some Schilling beer. Check it. And then a couple weeks after that is the Exeter Powder Keg Festival, which is on the 4th, and it's always a good one. It's we've talked about
Chili,
last year. It's the perfect storm of like, chili and beer. Where if you're in the wrong,
Yeah.
but
I like that one
But
too.
Shauna, you're part of it. So how's it going so far? How's the planning?
Yeah, there's some. I think he's trying to get like 50 to 60 breweries, and he's probably got like 15 to 20 different restaurant vendors doing chili, which is, I mean, it is like it's a combustion fest. It's like naturally to blow up at that festival. It's there's too much good stuff going on there.
Yeah.
At that event, and each year they work with, it's the Exeter town that puts it on in the Parks and Rec, and they work to make the festival better every year. So there's tweaks and changes to improve it all the time.
That's
Sweet.
awesome.
Yeah.
I like fests that take in your feedback. You know what I mean? And
Weren't you there last year, Carla? Were we?
I was, and it was really cool. I also just really like ones in the fall where you like walk around. It was outside, it had tents and whatever, so it was a beautiful fall day. It was perfect.
Yep.
And dug that one a lot. And I like ones where there's food involved. I think that's a biggie for me, is that it's not just how many samples can I shove down my throat in a couple hours. It's, oh wow, these restaurants are doing good things, these breweries are doing good things. I like to see that kind of partnership and that kind of cool stuff happening.
And then again, this is a month out. It's more than a month out. It seems like I think it's way later this year. But the New Hampshire Brew Fest at Red Hook is the
same date.
The
same day as last year.
Same date. When was it? It was 2 years ago.
Close.
It was early October. It's a couple years ago. But yeah, anyway, it's coming in hot. We'll be talking about it later on. I might even do a show again about it. But yeah, it's been dubbed my favorite festival of the year. So check it out. That's all I have for now. I do want to do a quick shout out. Myself and beer buddy Ben Watts did a live beer and comedy show at a bar called Levin in Somersworth last week, and it went awesome. About 40 people there filled the bar to watch me and Ben just talk about beer and have some fun. It was a ridiculously fun time. I'm gonna post.
So what was the comedy?
Oh, nice one. Not you, but it was good times, and I'm in the middle of writing a recap about it and putting the pictures and shit that we had from it on there. So it was definitely a good time. And if you want to find out more about it, you either go to the website secretbeveragelab.com, check out the recap, or every first Thursday of the month, me and Ben are going to be doing that at 11 for it's an hour show. So just come on by. I'll be talking about it.
Sweet.
So Carla, what's coming up for you?
In this upcoming week, not a whole ton. I've been meaning to kind of visit a few breweries that I haven't gotten around to go up to yet. Might make it up to Tumbledown Brewing, which is up in the kind of mountain area of the state. Probably going to spend a little bit more time at Arcadia. There are lots of events coming up in October that center around some of the fresh hop beers that are being made in Maine, so I'm kind of looking forward to those, but there's not a whole lot on the immediate radar. And then also in October is Rising Tide's 4th anniversary. So if you guys want to come up for that, they're having a really cool event. They're going to have food and music and all kinds of things, but you have to buy tickets in advance for it. But it sounds like an awesome time. They're going to have a special beer release and everything. And I believe it's like October 25th that weekend.
4 years. What?
4 years. Isn't that nuts?
Man.
Like, I remember when Nate Sanborn had short hair, which is not true anymore.
Yeah.
And when they were brewing on this tiny little system, and I had been drinking their beer, and I went to visit their brewery, and I went, oh my God, you're brewing all of that on that little thing? So they've obviously come up and gotten huge, and every time I turn around, they're doing an expansion. So
they were our second brewery guest on the show.
Yeah, they're such awesome people. Everybody that works over there, they're terrific. So congratulations on that upcoming 4-year anniversary. And then the only other news up here is that King's Head bar, which is opened by the guy who used to own Blackback up in Vermont, is just announced today that they're going to be expanding to have more than 40 draft lines. So that's going to put them in direct competition for the number of draft lines with Navarre Rez.
Get in there.
Yeah, so they've been interesting because their tap line's different than everywhere else in town, and I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's just that there's stuff on there that you don't see anywhere else in town. I've welcomed them kind of with open arms into town. That's cool to have another perspective come in. So next time you come up, there might even be more beer. So
there will be more beer.
There will always be.
Yeah, every time you cross that damn border, update the map again.
More and more and more and more. How many breweries are in New Hampshire now?
35, 36, John? What do you got?
Yeah, 35, 36.
Yeah. Norm laughs. He's like, freaking New Hampshire.
I haven't gone yet, so I'll give Norm a rest.
All right.
I just want to mention this Sunday is actually the Harvest Moon Festival at Red Hook Brewery, where they're going to have Rusted Root. The band will be jamming out there. I know that you mentioned the Passport event on Saturday, but this next Saturday will be the 20th is a Brewfest in Claremont. Pretty much there's like 2 or 3 Brewfest every weekend this month. On the 27th is also the Whim Sausage Fest Oktoberfest.
Oh.
It'll be sausage and beer at Whim Brewery. It's the second annual. Last year we kind of did it like it was like an underground event that we worked with Whim last year to be able to host it. It's going to be some Oktoberfest beers on draft, and there's going to be some meats as you would get in a traditional German restaurant. So I just want to make notes of those in addition to the items that you mentioned, Brian.
Sweet Jesus and Swansea Day, add to that list as well.
Oh, God, yeah.
Is the 20th. So Lord Hobo in Cambridge.
Navarre!
Yep, ever heard of it? So check it. Anything else that's going on in your world?
Nope.
All right, sweet. Norm. Man, did I tell you that warm filter's doing good for you right now?
I like it. I'm sorry, I like it. So
Don't change, man.
All right. Well, actually, next Thursday on September 18th, I'm going to actually be at the Nantastic Beach Ballroom giving a talk about Boston beer and the history of brewing in Boston.
Yes.
Part of the Nantasket Beach lecture series. So I'll be there for about an hour next Thursday night. The cookies and tea and drinks and me and a book sign. So come on down. It's gonna be fun. I'm not sure exactly where Nantasket is. I'm gonna have to find out before I go.
Damn it.
But I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna take him like 6 hours to get there. He has to paddle out in a canoe.
We're going to Nantasket and Piscasket, yeah.
But other than that, not much going on. We had to. I was supposed to be doing a book signing at Wellesley Books this weekend, but unfortunately, the distributor that was going to be pouring beer found out at the last minute because of Wellesley Books not having a liquor license. They couldn't pour beer, so we're pushing back the signing until we can get a couple breweries that'll pour on their own brewing license. So I had to push that at the last minute. So other than that, so this weekend I'll be venting out, drinking a lot of beer at home.
It is very important to have beer at a book signing if the book is about beer. Mike and I found out. And
yeah,
I should have consulted Norm first too, but anyway, that's gonna do it. Jesus, episode 90 in the books, folks. We did it. Carl and Norm, Sean, we are 10 away from the big hundo. We gotta think of something crazy. But for now, all I can say is to you guys, thanks for watching. And if you have any guest suggestions, story suggestions, you know how to do it. Send a tweet, hashtag SBL Podcast to the three amigos and Norm. Hi, cheers.
Hey.
Cheers.
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 See you next week. And click.